Hi all, warm good evening to all. Let's wait for a few minutes to join others. Thank you so much for your understanding. Once again, good evening to all. So today we have our speaker, Dr. Sriram Mudambi sir, is a practicing dental surgeon with masters in restorative dentistry from the National University of Singapore and a formal management education. With over 2 decades of experience in corporate dentistry across Australia, Southeast Asia, and India, he is a founder of the Gold Collar, an innovative education platform dedicated to business and leadership development for dental professionals. Through flagship programs like APLBED and EBMD, designed in collaboration with Indian School of Business, Dr. Sriram Mudambi equips dentists with real world skills in finance, operations, branding, and AI. His mission is to help dentists build profitable, scalable, and future ready practices beyond clinical excellence. So, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for a very kind introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are. I know a bunch of you are on this Zoom call, and a bunch of you are actually on the YouTube channel watching it live, right? First of all, before I go for any further, I'd like to thank Online Dentistry, Dr. Binu and Dr. Joby for having me here. I know it's a nice, lovely Wednesday evening, and I hope you can make the best use of the time you have with me here. I'll take the opportunity to say this as we go on. The people who are on the Zoom call, actually, feel free to stop me at some point and ask any questions, raise a hand, and I'd love to interact and possibly answer any questions, which means I can also pause to ask some questions, and I'll appreciate if you can take the time to unmute yourself and answer them. So I request the host to be able to allow that. And of course, the guys on YouTube, it's going to be a monologue. And I hope you enjoy that as well. And have the opportunity to watch it in the future if you didn't get some parts of this. All right. So my topic today is why business education is no longer optional. And I'd like to wake you up by saying, wake up, doc. Now, as we go along, what I have to say is that today's session will have no before or after images, right? There's nothing scintillating clinical that I'm going to show you. There are no technique slides, and there are therefore no clinical results. All right. Instead, what you're going to get is asking questions like, where are you now? Where do you want to be? And more importantly, how to get there, right? I do know we are at various stages of our career in this group. There are about 15 of us on the Zoom call, and I think a lot more people are joining on the YouTube channel. But this is the starting point of today, right? Where are we? Where do you want to be? And how do you get there? And what I will assure you today is that what you will hear is something that potentially you wouldn't have heard before from anybody. So there's a lot of new, very, very new information that is very relevant to you, irrespective of where you are in your career. So try to pay attention, and I'll try to make it fun as well, right? The truth is we've spent a lot of time perfecting a root canal, doing a great crown pep, a painless extraction, or even an implant, right? But no one, unfortunately, taught us how to price it, market it, scale it, or even survive it, right? Today, dentistry, unfortunately, is no longer just a clinical profession. It is a business. And in business, the best clinician doesn't always win. Turns out the best run practice does, right? Now, the dilemma we face, however, is this rising competition. There's a lot of patient expectation and technology disruption, especially more so in the recent past with AI and the like. And there are financial pressures that exist. We may have raised loans, the costs are going up and the like. And what's missing really is that we graduate with absolutely no formal training in the field of finance, leadership, operations, or patient psychology. For example, in dental college, we taught that we treat a tooth. Only when you come out of dental college do you realize that there's actually a person attached to the tooth. Only if you convince the person, is he going to open his mouth, sit in the chair, and get treatment done. A lot goes between the two, right? Right. But success today requires those very skills, right? Now, if you want to be professionally successful, or if you are already professionally successful, you would agree with me that largely depends on your skills being your knowledge, your clinical skills, and the application of the technology that you have, right? There is another component that brings about success, and that is your personality. Turns out you have empathy, compassion, communication, and the confidence to come across with your patients. Now, if you had high skills but low personality, or on the contrary, low skills but a great personality, either way, you won't find success. But my question to you is, what do you think is the third important component for success? Because the truth is, the way we look at it, we believe, and we strongly believe, and choose to disagree with me, we believe patient comes to us because of our skills. And through that skill, we give value to the patient and value to ourselves. And through that value, we earn an income. But what drives patients to our skills is really our marketing, branding, and patient acquisition skills. What drives your skills to provide value to yourself as well as to the patient is your ability with your clinical skills, your business skills, and your communication skills. And what drives value to become income for you is your understanding of finance, pricing, and negotiation. And all of this attributes to what I would call the predictable, enjoyable treatment experience, right? Now, here are a lot of components that I mentioned that we think we know to some extent, but we try to do a great job of, but I think we can do better, right? But the new rules of the game is now dentistry is now become a service business. Patients choose experience over expertise. Your brand matters. Profitability is actually a skill, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. If you don't know how to, your chairside cost per hour, you're flying blind, really. Financial literacy is so much more important these days. Leadership is no longer optional. If you lead a team, you're a business leader, and your staff productivity is a direct reflection of how you lead. And of course, in this world of AI and technology, those who adopt fields like AI are running more scalable practices. And they become what we call business savvy clinicians who are able to drive change. Right. But the question is, are we a business? And the answer is this. I'd like for you to ask yourself 3 questions when you are in practice. Is there money involved? Is there a service provided in return? And is there value creation? And if you tick all these 3, turns out we are a business. We are in the business of taking care of our patients, right? Now I'm going to run through some simple business examples. And before I did that, I'm going to ask you all who are in the Zoom call if you have any questions for me. Anybody? Okay. I'll just move on then. Simple business examples. And you see, I'm going to see and try to come up with 2 or 3 very simple examples that get you to think about how you can think business like to start off. All right. Let's say this is practice A, and practice A has a revenue of 1.2 crores. Expenses, all expenses are about 1 crore, and the profit is about 20 lakhs. And here's practice B. Revenues much lesser, it's 80 lakhs. Expenses are 50 lakhs, and profit is 30 lakhs. Now, my question to you, watch this carefully. Practice B has a much lower revenue, but a higher profit. My question to you is these. Which practice would you rather own, A or B? Anybody wants to answer that? People who are in the Zoom call? Can anybody be able to unmute themselves at all and contribute?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Vinitha.
Sir, everyone would like to choose practice B, but as others are charging less, so we all also have to charge less. In that condition, patients will prefer practice A.
Is it?
So
So
what can
you're
we
making an
do
assumption already that practice A is charging less.
is, but comparatively, so the income is almost 1 crore 20 something. So more number of patients are there in practice A.
Is it? Doesn't have to be. I didn't say anything like that. I didn't say this is the only information you have.
Okay, sir.
Revenue, expenses, and profit. Revenue, expenses, and profit.
Okay, sir.
I didn't give you any information on whether practice A has more patients or whether practice A is charging less.
Okay, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Still,
Correct,
I'm
sir.
asking you. Let me reverse that question. How is it possible for practice B to have a lower revenue but a higher profit?
No idea, sir.
Yeah. Good, right? But thanks for contributing, Vinita.
Okay,
Right.
thank you, sir.
Right. But turns out practice B makes more profit. And from what I hear from Vinita, we can assume now that practice B is actually working less. So the question is the real measure of success in dentistry your top line revenue or your bottom line profit? Right? The next question is, do you know exactly how much monthly profit after expense you make, including your own salary? Do you have systems in place that control your costs? Or are you just trying to increase revenue, hoping it'll fix everything? A lot of people do that. And what's the cost of not knowing your numbers? Or worse, if you misinterpret them? And would you call then practice A success? And if not, what's missing? And I'm going to answer Vinita's question in a very different way. Okay? Well, if you have a lot of these questions that you do not have answers to, I will say, wake up, doc, again. All right? Now, the thing is, I want to introduce you to a concept called treatment policy. The treatment policy is imagine a circle, and these are procedures that you will do. Imagine another circle around it, and these are procedures you may do. And outside, these are procedures that you will not do. Okay? So the boundary actually defines what procedures you will do, what you will not do, and helps you decide based on the demand and based on your skills and what you will do and what you will not do. First point. Second, imagine, let me bring this simple example. Here is a missing tooth. Options exist. There is a partial denture, a crown and bridge, or an implant. All three are the same answers to a missing tooth with different price points. That's all the differences. But how you want to think about it is like this again, which is if you did either of the three, any of the three, you're still taking care of the patient's core benefits, which is the replacement of a missing tooth. And then there are tangible benefits associated with it, which is, oh, if you did a crown and bridge or an implant, there is a lot of more function and aesthetics versus the removable partial denture. Therefore, it is pricier, better. And then around it is something called the augmented benefits. The augmented benefits are, look, this treatment is minimally invasive, is more predictable, it's quick, it's aesthetic and the like. And this again governs your treatment policy. Now, if you understand this, core benefits is for the patient. The tangible benefits are for the patient. The augmented benefits are for the patient. For each of the benefits, the pricing is different. You will realize that it all matters on what is known as managing your treatment portfolio. And how you manage your treatment portfolio is in this matrix. It's called the BCG matrix. Okay? You put 4 boxes, and I'm going to ask you to think of something like this. Imagine you have a large share of doing a type of treatment, and the market is also growing fast. Imagine you have a large share of doing a certain type of treatment, but the market is not growing fast. Would anybody be able to give me examples for these? What about this? Oops. What about this? Could anybody be able to give me an example where you do a lot of this, but the market is not growing so fast? Anybody wants to say something? I see names like Ahmed, Anita, Bini, Subra, Priyanka, Jisha, Senthil, Mohammed, Poonam. Anybody? So you have a large share, but the market is not growing fast. Come on, take a hit. Take a try. What do you think that could be? I'm waiting. Okay, let's start with something easier. You have a large share, but the market is not growing fast. That is, you do a lot of this, but everybody is also doing, but it's not growing so fast. Anything you have in mind? Sharanya, I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
Actually, a lot of airway dentistry. So we are all a part of this group as well from online dentistry. The market is not growing that fast, but then
Right.
we do a lot of those procedures
What
nowadays.
are those?
For airway dentistry expansion, and we do that interdisciplinary approach, early
Right,
intervention, and
right.
sleep dentistry, related to sleep medicine.
So you do a lot of that?
Yeah, I do.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
We have
Thank
also opened a practice right now, Airway First. So it's
Very
related to
nice,
that.
very nice. But hang on here, huh? Just stay unmuted for a while, okay? Just help me
All
here
right.
a bit, okay? Now,
Yes.
what about this? You have a small share, but market is growing fast. Can you think of something?
Mm, so probably something to do with preventive dentistry.
Maybe so for you, right? For you,
Yeah.
but for every person who's listening here, it's a different thing,
Yeah.
right? Now, here's the last one. You have low share, low growth.
No, I'm not able to think of
No,
anything like
I
that.
would say these are RPDs.
Okay. RPDs, probably. Yeah.
No, just thinking loud, right? So now this is where I want you to stay here with me. It's actually quite interesting when you do this matrix, because what happens is the ones that you have a large share in the market is actually growing. These are called your stars.
Those are mostly orthodontics, I would say.
In your case,
In my case, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right? Good. Be here with me. Now, where you have a large share and the market is not growing fast is all the stuff that you said you're doing. This is
Okay.
where you're making all your money. This is called your cash cows.
Oh, all right.
Make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, hang on here. This slide is the mecca of today, right? So pay attention. And I'm glad you unmuted yourself and you're talking. Right. And this, where you have a small share, but the market is growing fast, it's called your
Okay.
question marks.
So,
Right?
okay.
Yes. Ask. What are you asking?
So this question marks, are we supposed to invest our time into that?
Great question. I'm going to answer that. I'm
Okay.
coming there. Great question. And of course, low share, low growth is called your dogs. Now,
Okay.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line in the middle. Now, Sharanya, to answer your question, if your portfolio of treatment is above the line, you will continuously need money since you have no cash cows.
Okay.
So you're always going to be a struggling practice. You're always in the cutting edge. You're always putting in money, but you don't have cash cows.
Okay.
But if you have your portfolio largely below the line, you will not improve the value of your practice because you're doing old-fashioned work.
Okay.
Now hang in here. Hang in here. The ones on the top are always going to need resources. The ones below are always going to be generating resources.
Okay.
Okay? The trick and the continuous trick is this. Your cash cows generate cash that need to be deployed on the question marks.
Okay.
Such that your question marks then become stars. This is what you got to do. Follow this arrow and do that. And you continuously do that and you will be a very successful practice. And that's the answer to somebody who said, somebody who's making 1.2 crores versus somebody who's making 80 lakhs. The one who's making 80 lakhs and still making a larger profit is doing this well. Am I
Oh.
making sense? It's not about reducing prices. And I'll tell you why. I'll talk about prices as well.
So, but you talk
Yes.
about the cash cows, right?
Mhm.
And if we are going to like charge mediocre or somewhere medium because they are the cash cows, then we'll be able to fund more of the question mark ones. Or do we
Okay.
increase the price there so that our
So,
funding gets better? It's quantity, quality kind of thing,
great
right?
question again. Thank you so much for staying unmuted and asking these questions, because you're actually guiding the next point in my presentation,
Okay.
right? So stay unmuted, because I'm going to bank on you for the rest of the day, for the
Oh my
evening.
God.
But no, it'll be fun. But did you get this slide? I'm hoping everybody got this part, because this is really a very useful metric. If you want to take something away from today, it could be one thing that you could take away from today is this. Okay. What are your cash cows? Are they really your cash cows? Or do you believe they are cash cows? Go look at your numbers.
Yeah.
Are they really your cash cows? Or
Yeah.
do you think they are your cash cows?
No, they
Okay,
are because that 80-20 rule, whatever is
Good.
working out there.
Good. So you know what you're talking. Okay. Right. Good. Now, so this is what I'd like to say. If your margins are a mystery, your success is an accident. All right.
Mhm.
So you could be having somebody who makes 1.2 crores, doesn't even know that they're making only 20 lakhs profit. And here's a person, practice B, who knows they're only making 80 lakhs. It's not only, it's significant, but they know they're making a profit of 30. I believe that the person who knows they're making a profit of 30 is better off than somebody who doesn't even know that they're making a profit of 20. Okay? Because they haven't managed their portfolio well. It's not about dropping prices. I just told you it's about managing your portfolio. Okay? Based on the kind of benefits you provide to your patient. As of now, I'm assuming this part, as of now, is sort of reasonably clear, thanks to Sharanya contributing a bit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hang on, you're not gone yet.
Yeah, I'm not going.
But you also asked a question, effects of pricing, right? Is it
Yeah.
about pricing? Now, here is the situation. I have another example here. What is better for increasing profit? Is it working on your costs or working on your charges? Do I rather drop or find a way to cut costs or find a way to increase my charges? And would somebody else who's on the Zoom call want to contribute? Anybody? Poonam, Sankalp, somebody's talking?
Good evening, sir. This is Dr. Anita.
Hello, Dr. Rita.
Hello, sir. Yes, I would prefer to cut down my costs rather than increase the charges.
Okay, you're very sure about that, are you?
Little confused
Look,
now.
I'm not going to ask you a kaun banega crorepati problem, okay? Because that's what Amitabh Bachchan does. I asked you simple, you said answered, and I say, are you sure about that? And you don't want to be, you want to suddenly be unsure.
Yes, sir. Cut down costs will be better
That's
rather
it.
than increasing the charges.
Okay, does Saranya want to agree with Anita or not?
So, but I always have this doubt, if I cut down the cost, would the quality of the materials I'm
No.
using will
That's
also
not the
be?
question. That's not the question. What is better for you?
Uh,
Cutting costs or increasing charges?
So I would prefer increasing charges basically.
Okay, so here is the situation where who said cutting costs?
My Anita.
Anita said cutting costs, and Shamina said increasing charges. Let's see who's right. Okay, let's see who's right and see if this opens a little bit of a Pandora's box in your minds. Right now, these are called the effects of pricing. That's pretty cool. Okay, it's a simple math problem. You don't have to take out a calculator. And let's say the price of something is 100, a treatment that you do, the price is 100, your costs are 90, therefore your margins are 100. Margins are 10. Simple math, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now I increase the price by 1%. So price goes to 101. Your costs remain at 90, but your margin goes to 11. This means there's a 10%, 11 minus 10 is a 10% increase in margin. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, simple math. Now now let's do 1% decrease, okay, in price. I give a discount here.
Okay.
So the price goes to 99. Costs remain at 90, margin remains at 9. Therefore, my margin decreases from 10 to 9, which is a 10% decrease in margin.
Okay.
Now, this is called the magnification effect of pricing, right? A 1% increase contributes to a 10% increase. A 1% discount brings about a 10% loss. Therefore, always connect pricing to net margins and its effect. Now, let's just take this a little further. Imagine you had to do multiple fillings. Price is 10, costs are 90. You did 10 fillings. So the total margin is 100, 10 into 10. Now, imagine you gave a 5% discount, which is a very common thing to do in our dental practice world. So you drop from 10% to 100, from 100, you drop it to 95. Your costs remain at 90. Your margin drops from 10 to 5. The fillings you've done are 10. And your margin drops from 10 into 10, which it was, drops to 10 into 5, which is just 50. So to maintain the same margin, you'll need to do 20 fillings instead of 10. Right? Which means more costs, which means you rather do more fillings in the same appointment than not, because you don't want to sterilize again. You don't want to bring that patient back again. You want to do more and more at the same time. It's therefore more profitable to raise prices than to offer discounts. And this is called bottom line profit focused thinking, which goes back to our clinic B thinking. Okay? Any questions, Sharanya? And anybody else? Anita? Anybody else who wants to talk or ask a question at this point?
So, but here the costs are still the same, right? You
Yes,
haven't,
the cost is still the same.
yeah, okay. So you haven't decreased or increased them. It's
We didn't
just,
increase. I didn't want to confuse you by doing multiple
oh,
things.
okay, okay.
Right? I'm trying to keep it simple to just show you that instead of working on dropping your costs,
Increase the charges so that,
work on increasing charges by providing more value
yeah,
to
yeah.
your patient. That's my message in this whole idea.
So, but one more thing I would like to bring here, like in your area or in your locality, geographic, whatever, if everybody is charging one way, and even if you give the value, would it work out that you're increasing charges?
Absolutely work out, because the biggest curse in our profession is exactly what you said, which is if you charge 100, I will charge 95. If I charge 95, someone will charge 90. And it goes downward spiraling to a point where the person who is nicely charging 100 is forced to charge 75.
Okay.
It is the biggest curse. It's called competitive based pricing. It's the biggest curse of our profession.
So
It's not
excuse
helping
me,
anybody.
sir. Yeah,
Okay.
this is Dr. Anita again.
Yes.
So the reason, yeah, we can increase the cost, but as such, we are known. Patients come and say, "Oh, you guys are very expensive when compared to the other doctors." So they have already gone price shopping everywhere, and then when we tell our prices, they say, "Oh, you are expensive." So sometimes we end up giving these discounts.
No, but the question need that at that point ask is, dear Mr. Patient, can you find out and tell me why he is cheaper?
Okay.
Okay. That's a more
Why
valid
is,
question.
why is he cheaper?
Okay. So rather
Sir,
than
may I?
telling, "Oh, we use good products and this and that," we just throw the ball
No,
in the other
please,
person's.
I'd really like to know why that someone else is cheaper.
All right. That's a good question. Yes.
Sir, may I?
Yes.
Sir, I'm very new. Just now I have completed BDS. I'm working in a clinic where the consultation charge is only 100 rupees. But even patients are not willing to pay that consultation fees if they are not undergoing any treatment. So what should I do when I open a clinic? Should I charge the same as them, or should I charge whatever I fix?
You charge what you fix based on what you think you are providing as value.
Yes, sir, but patients are not even ready to provide that 100 rupees consultation fee. I live in a
So
suburban area.
so you're dragging me into a different arena of this conversation, which is everything is based on the socioeconomic status of where you are.
Okay, sir.
It is
But
fundamentally right.
as Dr. Anita and Dr. Saranya said, everyone are comparing the fees with other dentists.
I'm asking you not to.
Okay, sir.
I'm fundamentally saying not to. I'm not saying go and charge 3 times, but why is it that there is a possibility? I know of numerable dentists who charge 3 times more than anybody else, but they
Okay,
provide
sir.
as much value. And if something goes wrong, they repeat the work at free of charge.
Okay, sir.
They're
So when
confident.
someone is experienced, it is easy for them to charge more. For a newcomer like me, it would be a burden if I charge more. That will I attract less number of patients, and it will be a financial burden for me.
But it
So
depends on
what
where
should
you
I
are.
do?
It depends on where you are, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So it depends on where you're practicing. So it's I like the question, but I don't want to answer it with not full information.
Okay, sir.
At the moment, I don't have the full information of where you're practicing.
Okay,
Right?
sir. Okay, sir.
But
Thank
do
you.
you understand this concept? Does everybody understand this concept?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That dropping price is not helping you in
Yes,
any
sir.
way. In any way. Okay? Now,
Okay,
where
sir.
am I
Thank
going
you.
with all of this is, this is called the magnification effect of pricing. Significant impact on profitability. And that's the reason the 1.2 crore clinic still doing 20, maybe, I don't know. Okay. Now, the most common question, and this is someone just asked, how do I increase my prices? Right? And I'm going to leave you with just one little concept called psychological effect of pricing. And I'm going to show you a little quick example. Here is option A. It's a restoration, anterior restoration that provides high aesthetics and high strength. Aesthetics is 3 stars, strength is 1 star. Here is option 2. It has high aesthetics and high strength, 3 stars and 3 stars. Now, option 1 costs 1150 in this example. Option 2 costs 1450 in this example. Now, I want to ask you this question. Which one do you think the patient will pick?
Probably option 2, sir.
Oh, you just said somebody is not willing to pay you 100. And now you say probably option 2.
But patient usually prefers high strength. If it's average strength, they have to repeat the treatment and they have to pay again.
But is it really the case? The difference between the 2 treatments is 350 rupees, which is almost a 30%.
No, patients usually go for option 1, sir.
That's correct. But the truth is, we want to increase our charges.
Yeah.
Right? We want to get them to pay slightly more without actually saying my charges are higher. So one of the ways to do it is like this. Okay? One of the ways to do it is, here you have option 1, 1150. Here you have option 2, 1450. Now you add an option, new option 2 in the middle. Okay? And you say high aesthetics, good strength. And you price it like this.
Okay.
Such that the difference between these two is 200. The difference between these two is only 100.
Cool.
How many times have you gone to a car showroom and they show you the car and they say, oh, this is the fully loaded version, but the starting price is something much lower. And you think that's what you ended up paying. But then you want the fully loaded version. It's only so much more. But then there's a middle version. The middle version is closer to the fully loaded version. So you've already anchored yourself on the middle version. But, oh, come on, since I like the middle version, why don't I add another 100 and get the best there is. This is called anchoring and the psychology of pricing, okay? And this is a way you can potentially find a way to always provide 3 options on every treatment. And when you do that, the chances are you will get the option 1450 versus stuck on 1150. Try it out, let me know. Try it on something new, come up with an option and let me know, okay? It more often than not works. This is how I thought I'll quickly tell you how to increase your charges. For the lady who asked me, hey, even 100 rupees people are not paying, I would say, hey, look, basic consultation is this consultation is that consultation is this. Now, which consultation do you want? Maybe that's a way of approaching it. Okay, right. And now the second option is therefore called what I would call the dummy option. Okay, something for you to think about. Hey, by the way, guys, you go walk around the world around you. You go to an Apple store and they do it all the time. You want an iPad Pro for the same price you can buy a MacBook Air. And you're confused. Oh, I'd rather get the MacBook Air. If I'm getting the MacBook Air, can I not the better one? If I want the better MacBook Air, the best MacBook Air is as exactly the same price as the MacBook Pro. Now I'm totally rattled. So you quietly migrated me into a better option, but means better product as well, which means better treatment as well, which means your ability to charge more and actually do more for the patient as well. All right? It gives you more room, headroom to do better for the patient. Are we clear as of now? Any questions on this?
No, sir. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. All right. This is what you want to do. So we've talked of pricing largely today to deliver a predictable, enjoyable treatment experience, right? Now, learning the business of dentistry, therefore, turns out to be very important, right? And applying this, I just showed you 2 or 3 very small examples as to how you can apply general business ideas into our day-to-day practice. Because we just decided that we are a business after all, right? Now, having said that, there are various ways of learning anything. We could work under somebody, and that's called mentorship. It's lifelong, it's a lot of mutual respect, and you learn what the mentor is willing to teach you. And then there's tutorship, which is 2-day courses, or even this kind of 1-hour sessions where somebody says something, talks a few tricks, talks a few tips, and you say, wow, that was nice. And we forget about it. And then these are the special people, and they believe they will do it their way. It takes a long time, a lot of effort, very unstructured, and you learn from your own mistakes. And man, it's expensive, really. Make a lot of expensive mistakes. And then there is what is known as formal education, where it says medium duration. It's got a degree of effort. It's a structured format. You learn from experts, and there's a lot of learning from people who are learning the same thing as you are. Okay? And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. All right? Now, if you look at the career crossroads in dentistry, and some of you might like actually this slide, it took me a long time to interview a lot of people to come up with this slide. All right? Turns out we're saying people from 0 to 3 years, 3 to 15 years, and 15 years above have various crossroads and decisions to make in their life. Okay? At 0 to 3 years, you either work as an apprentice, you want to choose to do your MDS, or you want to go abroad, or there are lots of people who say, I don't want any more dentistry. And after 3 to 15 years, if you imagine you're still in dentistry, you either choose to practice or you consult. You're very skills focused, and you're very resource focused, and you're very market share focused. That is, you want more patients, you want more and more, you want popularity, you want to begin to get that. And beyond that time is when you're very expansion focused, you're very investment focused, you're technology focused because you can invest in technology, And of course, then therefore, you also become very profit focused. Now, the green area in this slide is what is important is that knowledge then becomes the measure. How much you're willing to learn. And later, experience becomes the measure. Well, look, not that people who have experience shouldn't learn. Learning is a continuous thing. But right, the important thing is what decisions you make going forward in a career. Right? Now, what I'd like to introduce you for people who are about 5 to 15 years in the career is what is known as the advanced program in leadership and business excellence in dentistry. And there will be a program coming soon for the people who just graduated as well. Right? Let me talk to you a little bit about the advanced program in leadership and business excellence in dentistry. It's from the #1 business school in the country, ISB, and Max Institute of Healthcare Management. Okay. As you know, or you don't, well, here you know now, it's #1 in India, it's 31 globally, #1 in India for research, and has a lot of alumni come in and a lot of participants who've graduated from ISB. It's quite fashionable to graduate from ISB, right? You want to think of this program as like a 3-month dental MBA where the curriculum is curated by management experts as well as dental professionals. Okay. And you'll need this really if you love dentistry. Now, here is the faculty. The guys who are in the orange box are actually dentists on the right side, right? I'm very proud that we've got Dr. Shankar Iyer, who's actually going to teach AI in dentistry, and Dr. Arunachalam, who's fantastic in teaching applying finance in your day-to-day practice, right? Now, you want to think of it like a pizza. The management professors, if they teach you, and only if they teach you, the pizza looks like this. But if everybody teaches you, including dentists, your pizza starts looking like this. They're like the topping over a nice, wonderful base. So you've got 6 management faculty and 4 dental faculty. You're not learning from one person. You're learning from a whole bunch of people who are experts. Come on, I wouldn't learn periodontology from somebody who's an endodontist, who is a prosthodontist, right? A perio prof does a great job of teaching perio, right? Same applies here, okay? And I'll play this video from Dr. Arunachalam.
As a practicing dentist, do you realize that you're in a business? You are a professional, but your practice is still a business. The primary purpose of any business, growth in profits. I'm Dr. Arunachalam, a faculty at the advanced program in leadership and business excellence in dentistry of the Indian School of Business. And I'm excited to talk to you about my module on financial growth in a dental practice. Financial growth in a dental practice is about sustained increase in profitability and value in the long term. So the key word here is sustained, which is not just about increasing your revenues, but smart financial planning and action that leads to stability and expansion over time. Are you aware of the services which are the most profitable in your practice? Are you pricing it right for the quality of care that you're providing? That is revenue optimization. And we'll talk a lot about that. Every practice has its expenses too. Inventory, overhead, HR. Are you aware of these expenses? Are you simply cutting corners or making smart decisions? That would be cost management. Then there is profitability. Are you making more money each year and keeping more of what you earn? All of this requires a deep understanding of your financial metrics. What is your cash flow? What is your profitability? What is your patient acquisition cost? So on and so forth. And these are numbers that can and must be measured. Because after all, you can only manage what you can measure. In this program, we'll help you leverage your financial data. How do you improve your cash flow? How do you reinvest your profits into new technologies? Or are you open to looking at new revenue streams? We'll help you grow fast, grow sustainably. After all, to create value for yourself, you have to create value for your patients. And to sustainably create value for your patients, you continually have to create value for yourself. Looking forward to seeing you at the advanced program for leadership and business excellence in dentistry of the Indian School of Business.
Right. Right. So can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So it goes off like this, pretty much modules, 12 modules. I'm not going to spend too much time boring you with this. You can see the brochure at some point if you're interested. And but what is fascinating is that these 3 blocks, wherein it's called dental business design, followed by AI in dentistry. So the dental business design helps you to assess where you are currently in your practice and where you like to see your practice in the future if you want to design it like that, right? Alongside that, the 3 modules of also application of AI in dentistry, right? In the end of it, you can also will be invited to come to the Indian School of Business, where you spend 2 days, and ISB provides accommodation in the wonderful campus, wherein you learn negotiations and a couple of other fascinating topics, and you receive a certificate from the Indian School of Business. Okay? I like to believe this: when every Sunday changes your life, okay? It's 12 weeks of online hybrid classes, which means the professor actually is there talking to you. These are globally renowned faculty and dental experts. There are 3 modules on dental design and 3 modules on AI, and you graduate at the Indian School of Business. Okay? It's a blended approach, 3 hours, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sunday. So that's, if you did some reading, it's no more than 5 hours a week. Okay? You'll apply real world scenarios that be taught by experts, personalized career guidance and support. And as you know, ISB is a wonderful campus, but the point is the other benefits being you also become a member of the ISB alumni executive network, opportunities to be in the groups with ISB, and who knows, you could also be speaking at one of the flagship events at ISB and get preferential discounts in all exec open-end programs. You get a very nice certificate. But look, I want to leave you with another very interesting concept. You see the circle, and the circle has something that says, what do I know that I know? And this, I think, is called your knowledge. I know how to cut a class 2 cavity. And that's my knowledge. I know how to do a very nice extraction. And that's my knowledge. And what I know that I don't know is my awareness. I know how to do an extraction, but I don't know how to do an implant. At least I'm aware that I don't know how to do an implant. Turns out I may know how to do an implant, but I don't know how to do a sinus lift. But at least I'm aware that I don't know how to do a sinus lift. And then there's something called what I don't know that I don't know, which is really a blind spot. And I'm hoping in today's conversation, I opened some of your blind spots, which is we spoke about things that you may not have heard before, may not have been entirely aware of formally before. You might be having the gut instinct towards it, but not very formally. And that's your blind spot. The truth is, the more and more we reduce our blind spots, the more and more aware we become, the more knowledgeable we become. Now, the truth is, if you cover this knowledge and what your ego may say is versus what reality asks, which is the stuff that you don't know that you don't know. What your ego says is, look, I've been doing all this for 15 years. I don't need business education. But the truth is, you have to ask yourself, but are your profits growing? Oh, I already run a very successful clinic. Very good. But could it run without you? My practice is already profitable. Very good. But is it scalable? Can you make 10 more like this? Because there is so much opportunity. Well, I don't have time for all of this. But then when will you grow beyond the chair? And well, I don't need business education, but the truth is, the practice is a business, right? And this, I think, I'm saying this only because of our profession and its mindset. Well, senior people thinking, why would I need business education? I already know so much. And youngsters saying, why do I still need business education? I want to learn only how to do better root canals. All that is great, but we still, unfortunately, in this country, don't have formal business education, especially in the field of dentistry. We have it in the field of healthcare, and in healthcare, that's for doctors who want to do something and work for a large hospital. But here we are, run our own practices. We are more eligible to learn the business of dentistry, but there's no program that exists except this one that formally teaches you how to apply business in dentistry. Okay. Now, your ego always likes to be in your comfort zone, but the truth is, the reality is, you need to come out of your comfort zone and learn something new. Well, all of this is for you if you really have, therefore, a growth mindset. If you're a constant learner, or believe that you're a constant learner, irrespective of your experience, irrespective of the wonders you've done for your patients. And of course, it's for some people I know who would like to look at themselves as thought leaders. This is certainly for you. Okay. Well, the enrollment for this program closes on the 10th of June. Now, if you guys are still here, my suggestion is you bring out your telephones and switch on the camera because you want to take a couple of pictures. I'm repeating. You might want to bring out your phones because you want to take a couple of pictures. Enrollment closes 10th of June, and 15th of June is the next program start. Not so far away. We have very few seats left. Point number one. Next, this is the QR code that will help you get all the information you need. So you might want to take a picture of this, but you could reach out here. Now, this is fascinating. And I'm sure Dr. Binu and Dr. Joby will be very pleased, an online dentistry. If you WhatsApp this number, 81210-33132, and put this scholarship code, the code is Online Dentistry ISB. There's a special scholarship for people who have participated in today's session. Okay. You might want to take a picture of this. Online Dentistry ISB, WhatsApp number is 81210-33132. Okay. And we'll reach out to you, and we'll know you've come to this webinar, and we'll talk to you about a scholarship or a discount, right? Now, I copied the top line from the Mission Impossible movie. It says, our lives are the sum of our choices. And I urge you to build the practice you wish you had started off with. The truth is, to create value for yourself, you need to create value for your patients. And to sustainably create value, remember sustainability, 1.2 crores versus 80 lakhs, 20 lakhs versus 30 lakhs. So sustainably create value for your patients. You need to create value for yourself, which means you need to learn the business elements of how to charge well, how to make how to run your operation, how to run your clinic with great operations, systems, and procedures. And this is a vicious cycle. Right? Now, having said that, the last thing I'd leave you with is something very fascinating. And I'd like to ask you, what do you think is new in dentistry? Anybody wants to answer what's new in dentistry? What's new in your mind? What's new?
AI.
Who's that? Who said that? Well, thank you.
Hi, sir. It's me, Sankalp.
Thank you, Sankalp. If AI is the future, on 8th of June, there is an AI masterclass. Okay? So, and that's the QR code to register for that. Thanks, Uncle. All right, on 8th of June is an AI masterclass. It's the first of a kind AI masterclass in dentistry. It's called the AI ID, right? Check it out, right? It's great fun. And I'm just stopping here for you guys to take a picture. Any questions? Any questions?
I have a question, sir.
Great.
About this pricing, and we spoke about all this, right? Who would be the better person to present it to the patient? I mean, does it have to be the doctor or the assistant dentist or an associate or the reception person? And where should
Whoever,
we do the price discussion?
yeah, so
Inside the
whoever,
room?
great question. I mean, it depends how you're structured. One.
Okay.
Two, you want to provide the options and potentially leave. Option 1, 2, and 3, the dummy option in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And then you may say, hey, look, I'll leave for you to talk to so-and-so in the reception.
Okay.
That's one thing. The second thing is, they may just straight ask you, what does it cost?
Yeah.
And when they ask you, so what does each cost? What are the option 1, A, B, and C cost? You can't say, hey, look, go and talk to reception, right? You might say A costs X, Y, and Z, B costs Y, C costs Z, right? And you can say, hey, look, what do you prefer? And if they say B or C, which is ideally option 3, right? That's
Yeah.
what you want.
Yeah.
And then you let reception know that he or she has chosen C. See, there is no hard and fast rule as to who shouldn't talk, who should talk. If the question comes from the patient and you're forced to answer, you should.
Okay.
If the patient doesn't come from the patient, then you know immediately that reception can handle it.
Okay. And the talking about prices, sir, is it okay to happen in front of other patients, or it has to be like
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Never.
No. Okay. So
Never.
the reception person can explain in a closed room or somewhere away from other patients.
That's correct. Never, 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 never in front of someone else.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Anyways, I hope I'll see you guys in the AI program. And if anybody is really keen, you know what you got to do. I'll go back and show you this. Oops, spread forward. Da, 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 da. Go back here. 10th June, 15th June. More importantly, scholarship code. And you mention online dentistry, ISB. All right. And I'll leave you one last thought, which I like a lot. Okay. I'll leave you with this. Remember, your name is a brand. It matters. Say it loud, say it proud. Have a lovely evening. Thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll see you sometime, somewhere in the future. Thanks again, Online Dentistry. Thanks for our lovely host who's taking care of us this time in the evening. Thank you once again, Dr. Binu and Dr. Joby. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for this informative session. Thank you each and everyone for joining with us. Thank you so much.
Best wishes. Take care. Have a lovely evening and the rest of the week. Cheers.